Say hello to our friends. Let's see. Oh. Okay, you ready? Say hello. Say hi. Say hi, friends. Say hi. Okay, say hi. Cece, what's up there? She's like, no, I cannot look up there. I cannot look up there. I am very uncomfortable. That's her practicing her arm movements. Yes. I know you're uncomfortable. Let's go on this side. Let's see. Oh, honey. Okay. Okay. Shh. You're okay. Okay, let's stand up. We'll stand up. Okay, I'm gonna have to show you her this way because this is the only way we want to be today. This is the only orientation we want to have. Oh, don't be crabby. Say hello. Oh, Angel, shh. It's too bright. Say, it's too bright, Mama. It's too bright. There she is. There she is. Well, you guys can kind of get a sense of how big she is. And we've got a little bit of hair loss, I think, but still got a lot of hair on top of her head. Yeah. It's a little bright with Mommy's light on, isn't it? We're not a huge fan of that. No. Okay. Hey guys, I'm back with my 3-month update, postpartum. Charlotte, my daughter, 3 months old. We made it through the first 3 months. I've heard that those, for a new mom, well, I feel like every month is gonna be the most challenging because it's all brand new as a new mom, so I don't know if that makes sense, but you're kind of just thrown into motherhood with a newborn. I mean, some people have more experience with babies or not. I didn't have a lot of experience with babies. Growing up, I babysat a lot, and I was even a camp counselor, but it was always for kind of older children, like ages 4 and up. So I really had no experience with babies, and it was definitely a full immersion, like brand new experience for me to be a mommy to a newborn. And one that I have so enjoyed, but it has not been without its challenges, which I've talked about in my previous updates, which I will post below. I made a new playlist for all of my baby content, and I'm trying to shuffle all those videos in there. So if you guys want to see my like baby playlist, I'll put that below. But anyway, today I'm going to kind of update you on what's been going on for the last month. So for the 3rd month of Charlotte's life. Oh, sorry, my phone volume is on. And we'll try to get through this during this nap. So we'll see. I might come back later. I might have to finish this later. So first of all, Charlotte's stats. Charlotte now weighs on her 3-month date, 13 weeks old, she weighs 12 pounds, 13 ounces. So she has officially doubled her birth weight. Her birth weight was 6 pounds, 6 ounces. And we're doing really well because you typically want to see a doubling of birth weight between 4 to 5 months old. Or by then, I suppose, as what people say. I don't know where that comes from. But, and we're at 3 months and she's doubled it. So that's awesome. And she's 25 inches long. She is super long, girl. I thought she would slow down a little bit in her length growing, but she really hasn't. She's still kind of growing lengthwise at the same rate as she's growing widthwise with her like baby fat. She has gotten, some more fat on her body, so some little cute baby rolls are showing up in her little wrists and her little ankles. I just love it. And her little thighs, you just kind of want to gnaw on them a little. I mean, not really, but you know what I mean. If you love babies or a new mommy, you love those seeing that because it means your baby is healthy and thriving and eating well and doing well, and it just brings such joy. And when they start crawling and walking, they kind of burn off that baby fat. But still in this newborn period, and she still is kind of a newborn until she can really do more things, it's healthy to see that, and it brings me joy. So Charlotte is doing really, really well. She has definitely turned a corner in her nighttime sleeping over the past couple of weeks. She's been sleeping what they call sleeping through the night. So for a baby, it's anything that's like over 5 or 6 hours is sleeping through the night. So she's been doing that consistently for the past few weeks. When she turned 2 months old, I started napping her in her room at about 8 weeks. putting her down for naps in her room. She was still sleeping in the Snug-a-Wuddy. That's what I call the Snug-a-Puppy or the Snug-a-Bunny. It's the same thing. It's just like a different animal. With her reflux, that was just easier for her to sleep in, and I hadn't quite rigged up the crib yet, and she was just used to napping in that. So I just basically just put the Snug-a-Wuddy like right next to the crib so she'd get used to sleeping in her room, kind of in that general area, and she took to that right away. I didn't have any problems napping her in her room. And then at about 9 or 10 weeks, now I can't remember, I have it written down, but I don't have that here with me, of course, I put her in her room to sleep overnight. And what I basically did was I put her crib mattress on an ankle. So I did that by putting like a pillow underneath the mattress to give it a sort of angle. For reflux, it's really beneficial for a reflux baby to have like a 30-degree angle to sleep on. And then I tucked a rolled up blanket underneath her sheet. So there's nothing loose in the crib. It's still just like a tight fitted sheet, but there's a rolled up blanket kind of in U shape right where her tushy is, so her legs kind of go over it, and that just keeps her from sliding down the crib because it is on an angle. She started napping in her room at 8 weeks in the Snug-a-Puppy, and then I transitioned her into the crib for naps at about 9 weeks, so about a week later, and then by about 10 weeks she was sleeping in there full time. I really never nursed in bed, so it didn't make any sense to me to keep her in our room. It's safer for her to be in her crib than the Snug-a-Puppy anyway, for like SIDS and stuff with the fabric and everything. And I can do the crib on an angle. It was just too hard to get the bassinet on an angle, and she's honestly so long that she kind of outgrew it. So I always nursed her in her room anyway, so it really didn't make sense to keep her in our room. There was like no purpose really. So she's been in her own room full time, sleeping for, through the night and all that, since 10 weeks old, and it's been going really, really well. She sleeps really well at night. She learned early on the difference between night and day. She didn't really have a huge night and day confusion period. I know a lot of babies struggle with that, like, with the time of day, like figuring that out. But Charlotte's always kind of understood when night is different from day, and she just always has slept better at night. And now she's up to like 7-hour-long stretches. She'll sleep for a 7-hour stretch and then maybe another 1 to 3 hours depending on the day. So that's pretty awesome. I really can't complain. I mean, she's doing awesome at night. Her daytime naps have been a struggle. She really hasn't napped for a long time. It was only there was like exactly 34-minute naps. You could almost set your watch to it. And that was her sleep cycle, and she'd wake up and she wouldn't be able to go back down, even though I could tell she was still tired, and no amount of rocking or shushing could really do that. She was up. When she was up during the day. Over the last week, that started transitioning slowly into more of a 40 to 50-minute nap. So I'm getting a little bit of longer chunks. I just think she's maturing. She's able to self-soothe a little bit better. And as she's getting older, her sleep cycles are starting to get longer. Eventually, I think as an adult, your adult sleep cycles are somewhere between 90 and 110 minutes long or something like that. But it takes a long time to get there. So she's doing really well. I struggle with the short naps a little bit because it's just really hard to get anything really done other than feed myself and like throw some laundry in and maybe like spot clean the kitchen. And that's me like going at hyper speed. So it's been a little bit of a challenge, but I'm kind of falling into a rhythm with it, and I think I'm going to be able to navigate it. And I know infant sleep does not, once you think you got a pattern going, they change it up. Like, it's not consistent. So I know that the nighttime sleep is going to change. I know that our naps are going to change, and I'm just trying to go with the flow. And honestly, I just feel like now that we're in the, past the 3rd month mark here, I just feel like I am settling into it more and just more easygoing about it. You can read a million books that tell you how to put your sleep train and like how to get your baby to sleep, and every baby's different. Babies are going to do what babies are going to do, and you just have to, at this point in their lives, you really just have to follow their lead. It's really hard to implement a schedule. That being said, I don't think it's too soon to implement routines. So things that they can learn that are cues, like sleep cues. So for instance, we have a nap routine where I bring her into her room when she starts to get, a little bit sleepy and she's yawning and she's getting a little fussy or whatever, and I can tell she's ready for a nap. We go into her room, I hold her while I close the blinds and I tell her it's time for sleep. I put on her white noise machine, which I'm going to talk about in my mommy favorites video in a couple of weeks. I swaddle her up and then I shush rock her for maybe like 5 minutes and then I put her down. That usually does the trick. If it doesn't, and I can see in the monitor that she's not, she's having trouble sleeping, she usually goes into the crib still awake but groggy, even after all of that, and then she'll put herself to sleep. If she can't put herself to sleep, I'll go back in and do the shush rocking again until it either works or it doesn't and we get up. So that's been the nap time routine. For bedtime, it's been, I don't bathe her every day. I've started bathing her like every other day or every 2 days. But on bath days, it's bath. How do I do it? I do a bath. I do her pajamas. I do her, I feed her. No, it's bath, pajamas, books, feed, song, shush, rock, sleep. I know that sounds like a lot of things. It really, like, altogether only takes about 30, 40 minutes. I mean, it depends how long she feeds for. If you take the feed out of the equation, it's like less than a 30-minute thing from start to finish. On non-bath days, it's just pajamas, book, eat, song, shush, rock, bed. I know that seems like a lot of things. It really isn't that time consuming. Eventually, the shush rock will kind of phase out of. I've actually been kind of incrementally making that less and less time. So it'll just be, bath, book, bed, and she'll have eaten before that. But, she's still in the phase where she needs to eat right before bed, basically, to be able to sustain herself for the long sleeping period. So anyway, that's been working out really well for sleep. I felt like I talked about sleep for so long. Oh my goodness. Playtime is getting better. I know I talked last month about her just not really enjoying playtime that much on the floor. Like, she really just didn't like being flat on the floor, and honestly, I think it was because of her reflux. As she's gotten bigger and matured and her digestive system is maturing, I've noticed the reflux is getting better and better and better. In fact, so much that I took her off the Zantac kind of a long time ago. But I'm going to talk about that in a second. I just want to talk about playtime first. Now that she's feeling better and she's not so refluxy, I've been able to get her on the floor for longer and longer periods of time. I still keep her upright after a feed for at least 15 minutes, whether that's on me holding her, which I do for a while to get her to burp, or I get her in her bouncer seat, which again is another mommy favorite I'll talk about. And I'll read to her and like do visual stuff with her and that for a little bit and then put her on the floor. I also discovered that she really just wasn't interested in the playmat that we had for her, which was something I had registered for and a lovely gift, and a lovely playmat, beautiful playmat from Skip Hop. She just had no interest in it. So I bought her this new one from a company called You-Kidoo. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it's like that high contrast, like black, white, red, blue, like colors she can see and differentiate between lots of patterns. She really enjoys it. And it's got like this moving car and stuff. It's super cute. And again, that's something I'll talk about in a favorites video. Probably not till the next one, not the 3-month favorites, but the 4-month favorites, because we just got it like a week ago. But it's made a huge difference, to be honest. She still hates tummy time, but we're going to be working on that. And it was just another thing I'm going to talk about with her health in just a second. So, health updates. As I was mentioning the reflux, I noticed that I just had this feeling like she didn't really need the Zantac that much anymore. She went on Zantac at 6 weeks at the suggestion of her pediatrician, and it really helped a lot. Really helped a lot for about 2, almost 3 weeks, and then I started to notice, like, I felt like she didn't really need it. I felt like she was drooling a lot at that point, and it just felt like it was related to the Zantac, and maybe she was just growing out of really needing it, because babies will grow out of most babies have reflux, whether it's the severity of it alters how you deal with it. So we did all the things, holding her upright, sleeping her on an angle, making sure to get good burps in, all of that jazz. And we were really, really good about that. Like, I was super on top of that. But she needed something else, so we tried the Zantac, and we did a low dose of the Zantac for a total of 4 weeks. But by the 3rd week, I was like, you know what? I think she needs to transition into something else. And so I transitioned her out of it between 3 to 4 weeks, and I transitioned her onto a homeopathic remedy, which again is something else I'm going to talk about in my favorites. And I don't want to go into too much detail here. I am not a medical professional, and I am not qualified to give medical advice. I did my own research. I talked to my own healthcare practitioners and Charlotte's healthcare practitioners to find these remedies for us. Please do that for you and your child. Don't just blindly follow what somebody says on the internet. You got to do your own research, and you got to have, people who are medically trained backing you up with that. But I put her on a homeopathic remedy called Natphos. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'll write it in here. And I'm doing like the lowest possible dose of that. And I do like half a tablet. The tablets are so tiny. Every other feeding. And that's been great for her. The drooling stopped. She doesn't get those like really awful hiccups anymore. She doesn't spit up nearly ever. I mean, really just maybe like once a day, if that, and it's just nothing. And she just seems so much more happy and comfortable. A big part of that is growing out of the reflux, or like really growing out of it. I could tell she still needed some support that wasn't just things I could do for her physically. But the Zantac was too strong for her at like 9 weeks. Or wait, how old was she? I don't know. This is too hard. But after a few weeks on it, I could just tell that she didn't need it anymore. So we transitioned into that, and I have a feeling at the end of this month, by the time she's 4 months old, that I'll have weaned her off of the homeopathic remedy as well. So I'm very happy about that. She's growing out of it. It's natural for babies to grow out of it. When they grow out of it depends on the baby. I'm grateful that she's growing out of it kind of on the earlier side of things. Okay, in other health news, our thrush. Thrush is, excuse my language, but thrush is the bitch. Okay, it really is. It's like incredibly challenging to get rid of. I don't know if that's true for all people. We struggled with it. I think I had thrush from the time that Charlotte was about 2 weeks until last week. So until 12 weeks. We had it for 10 weeks. She never really got it. It was mostly me. She did get a few bouts of that yeast diaper rash, which also is really challenging to get rid of. And I found that doing like homeopathic remedies again was the way to go. So just like natural things that I could do at home. Maybe I'll write a blog post on what I've done or whatever, but basically a combination, and I'll talk about this in the favorites, I guess, combination of grapefruit seed extract and coconut oil basically took care of the yeast on her diaper rash yeast diaper rash. That didn't come out right. So I just lots and lots of armchair research, I call it, when I'm, spend so much time in my nursing chair. I do a lot of research on my phone. But yeah, that worked really well. And I think maybe I will do a blog post on how we combated thrush. I was on the antifungal, what's that stuff called? Fluconazole, or I don't know how to pronounce it. It's an oral medication for 6 weeks. Like, that's a powerful, powerful antifungal. And honestly, all I think it did was mess up my digestive system. That's all it did. After I did the whole course, and after it was done, still had the thrush, it had made no difference. I had been on the Candida diet. I did the Candida diet for 6 total weeks as well, which I'm transitioning out of now, thank goodness, because I can eat things again, which was very limiting, but I felt like it was important to really fully attack the thrush. I think that helped, but it didn't make a huge difference. The thing that made the biggest difference, 2 things, were starting to take apple cider vinegar internally again. That's me, not the baby, me. So I basically shoot a tablespoon of that every morning before I eat, like right after I wake up. Helps so much. I'm already on probiotics. I've been on probiotics for years, so I didn't change anything with that. So that was one part of the natural remedy, and the other part was using the same coconut oil, grapefruit seed extract combination, like topically on my nipples. And that did it. And we're thrush free at the moment. I don't know, it might come back. I know that once you have it, you're prone to it again. And it is a bitch. Like, I'm sorry for the swearing, you guys, but it really, there's no better descriptor to get rid of. It's just impossible, but it is possible. It's not impossible. And I think I'll talk about that in the blog post, because now that I've said that 1,000 times, I should do it. Anyway, we're doing much better in that situation. And I'm just thankful that she never got it in her mouth. And the diaper rash was only a couple of times, and it was only really bad one time. And then when I found my at-home remedies that really worked. That cleared it up right away. And now when I see it maybe rearing its head, I know how to attack it before it gets out of hand. The last health thing I want to talk about is that Charlotte was diagnosed with torticollis. And what that is it's basically just like a cranking of the neck. It's like a muscular thing where your neck kind of is a little bit out of whack, right? So when Charlotte was in utero, I have a very, very, very pronounced heart-shaped uterus. When I was trying to conceive, I knew I had, I think they call it arcuated. I don't know, I might be making that word up. I knew I had some sort of dip in my uterus. The uterus is supposed to be kind of round on the top. Mine dipped in a little bit. It wasn't that pronounced, so, you know, in my fertility journey, like, we weren't that worried about that. We were more worried about other things, which, you know, then we were able to take care of and conceive. But once my uterus expanded to accommodate Charlotte growing, it got more and more and more pronounced. So when they cut me open for the C-section, my OB was like, that was like it was a really, really pronounced heart shape. And Charlotte was wedged up, like her head and one leg was wedged up in one side of it. And she was really stuck in it. And that's why she was stuck Frank breech position, and we couldn't turn her no matter what we did. And that's why one of the reasons I had to have the C-section, aside from the low amniotic fluid, which also might play into the heart-shaped uterus with the low, I have no idea. But anyway, she was basically stuck with her neck like this, is what we're hypothesizing. I mean, that's what she looked like when she came out, so we're pretty sure she was stuck like that. And it just, you know, developmentally, her neck just, it's fine. It's like healthy neck. It's just a little bit not stuck that way, but she definitely has a right side preference. And her right side of her head started getting a little bit flat because whenever she is on her back or playing or sleeping, she sleeps on her back, she plays on it, you know, she's always got this right side preference. When she's up on my shoulder, she's looking to the right. When she's doing tummy time, she's looking to the right. And we just noticed that she wasn't naturally growing out of it. So she qualified for physical therapy, and we're starting that actually next week. To do weekly physical therapy with her, and basically they're just gonna work with her soft tissue a little bit and also help me teach me exercises to do with her, how to play with her in a way. I mean, I try to play with her on the left side as much as I can and all of that, but it's just gonna help her with her neck, and also that will help with her head. So her head's a little bit flat on the right side from that preference and the torticollis, but honestly I'm not that concerned about it, and I'm looking at the physical therapy as really, like, I'm looking forward to it because I think it's gonna be a way for me to help learn how to better play and interact with her in a more constructive way. Like, I'm always interested in learning things like that, and also really help her with her tummy time dislike, which I do every day, but I feel like it's she hates it. I feel like I'm torturing her, so I don't leave her in it when she's like crying, but you gotta keep trying, right? So they're gonna help me with the tummy time too, and that might have something to do with the neck as well. But otherwise, she's doing beautifully. She's growing beautifully. She's developing right on track. She's just such a joy and delight. She smiles so much now. Every time I go in to wake her up or get her out of her crib, she smiles at mommy. She sees me, she's like looking around, and she sees me, she goes, "Meow." She makes this cute little like shy smile, and she started talking and interacting with me. It's so cute. Sometimes I sing to her a lot, and sometimes when I'm singing, she'll sing to me. So that's really sweet. I just love seeing her develop. She's doing a lot more. She's getting a lot more tactile with her hands. She still can't quite like purposefully grasp things. She can grab onto things, but it's not like quite purposeful yet. But she started doing the purposefully batting at things. She's practicing her arm movements. She's kicking her legs a lot. She's not quite at the point where she's rolling over yet. I know babies do that at different points, but I think as we get to spend more time on the floor and she gets more confident and comfortable being on the floor, that will naturally come later. And her latest most favorite thing to do is stick her hands in her mouth, and she's getting much better at that and much more intentional with it. And I think it's just a matter of time before she'll figure out she can stick her fingers in her mouth too. Right now she just kind of gums on her hand, but I think she'll be sucking on her thumb or her fingers soon. So there's that. As for me, I'm doing really well. It's, you know, like I said last month, it's ups and downs. It can be really challenging sometimes and feel a little bit isolating sometimes, just because it's, you know, it's mostly me all day, every day, like just me trying to figure this out. Don is super, super helpful, and I'm so incredibly blessed to have him in my life. He's taken over household everything. He's taken over all of the cooking, almost all of the cleaning. I still do the laundry because that brings me such joy, and I do spot clean the kitchen every day because he won't do like counters and stuff, but he does the dishes now and all of that, and he does all the grocery shopping, which has been amazing, and I'm so lucky to have him. Charlotte's been going through this phase where she doesn't really like to be held by anybody but me, so that's been a little bit challenging because she'll cry whenever even Dawn holds her some of the time, and it's just, that's a little bit challenging, but I know it's just a phase, and I think she's just going to grow out of that. But yeah, so anyway, like I was saying, it can feel a little overwhelming sometimes, but at the same time, it feels so normal and so natural and so right, even though it's like a complete 180 for me from my previous life, and it's just totally different life, like daily experience. It feels so normal. It's so hard to describe. I didn't know that it would feel this normal. I didn't anticipate that it would just feel so natural, even though it's so different and challenging too. So I'm just really enjoying that. I'm hoping now that she's older and she's doing a little bit better. She did have pretty bad colic for the last couple of months, really. Once she hit 5 weeks, she got into colic real bad. And that's sort of starting to subside, and I'm seeing a lot of improvement in that, so I'm hoping we can get out more. If she starts napping longer, then she'll have longer periods between naps, then we can get out more. I'm hoping to join some local mommy groups or like a fitness mommy group, and we're hoping to start her on swimming lessons, which, you know, get us out and meeting other people, have her interacting with other children and different environments outside of the house. And now it's warming up outside too. It's spring officially, so we've been getting out more, trying to get her out at least once a day, whether if it's warm enough for a walk, and if it's not warm enough for a walk, try to get her, you know, somewhere to an appointment. Sometimes it's just like to go to the doctor or something, and sometimes, you know, we haven't gone out shopping much, but to like Target for a quick run or something, just to get her out of the house once a day, if possible, if the weather permits. And we're getting better into that. So, and that's good for me too. It's good for me to get out of the house because I started to get a little bit like cooped up feeling. But spring has sprung and we're getting outside. So that's really wonderful. My body has just been great. I just can't believe it's bounced back so fast. Again, I think staying fit and active throughout my pregnancy had a big thing to do with that. I still haven't exercised. I really just haven't had time with the small naps, and kind of navigating the overnight sleep journey and changing and everything. I hope to start like actually exercising now, starting now. So we'll see how that plays in. Maybe I'll have more to report with that. And that's not for weight loss or anything. That's really just, it just makes me feel good. It's mental health and physical health combined. It just feels good for me to exercise. So see if I can get back on the elliptical machine. Ideally, I'd like to start running again, but that's maybe a little bit further down the line, because I don't want to jump into anything and risk injuring myself. I'm back to my pre-pregnancy weight at 3 months postpartum, and I haven't dieted. Well, I have dieted, but that wasn't to lose weight. I dieted. That Candida diet probably is the reason I'm back at the weight so soon, to be honest, because it was a really limiting diet. But you know, whatever. I was prepared to not get back to it this quickly, and I really just don't care. But that hasn't been an issue. And I'm feeling strong, and I'm feeling healthy, and really just really happy. Of course, like I said, I have my moments where I get overwhelmed or I get a little bit, you know, stressed. And honestly, those have been pretty far and few between, much less than I would have thought. And I am grateful for that as well. And I couldn't be happier and more in love with this child. She's just given me such life. Like, she has just breathed life into my life. And I felt pretty lively before. Like, I've always felt very blessed to feel so joyful and just have a really positive and optimistic outlook, even through difficult times and suffering with anxiety in the past and working through that kind of stuff. I've just usually been pretty happy even despite those things. And I couldn't imagine being happier, and I am, and I continue to be, so that's such a blessing. And I hear my baby. Oh, she's a wakey baby. All right, well, I gotta go get that baby. But that's basically, I'm wrapping up anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed this update. Sorry it was long and rambly as usual. But if you want to see some progression pictures of Charlotte, I'm gonna try to put together her whole 12 weeks collage. I don't know if that's gonna happen or not, but I'm gonna try to put it together on her blog. I took a weekly picture of her every week. Update that, so I will try to put that in her update blog post, which I'll link below if I had a chance to get it up before this video. And I hope you guys are well. I will be back with my regular lifestyle favorites soon, and my mommy favorites soon after that. And I will see you guys real soon. Thank you for watching. Take care, you guys. Happy spring. Bye.